Meet Chichi. Her beauty is legendary, but it comes with a deadly curse. Any man who touches or socks her breast is doomed to die in exactly 2 days. As the body count of her admirers starts to mysteriously climb, a detective searching for a logical answer and a healer who knows dark magic must team up. They have just 48 hours to solve the mystery of her cursed body before she inadvertently kills again. In the middle of a bustling city, Chichi was a paradox, a woman everyone admired, but no one truly knew. Men were drawn to her beauty, but her heart was a lonely fortress. The first to learn the terrible price of getting too close was Emeka, a rich businessman whose confidence was as loud as his flashy car. During a wild party, he leaned in, laughing, and playfully pressed her breast. Chichi froze, a silent scream caught in her throat. 2 days later, Emeka was found dead in his penthouse. His heart had just stopped. Doctors were baffled, and then it happened again. A charming musician, after serenading her, placed his hand over her shoulder and touched her breast, and trying to kiss her in a shared moment. 48 hours later, he was gone too, another victim of sudden cardiac arrest. Whispers started to snake through the city. The deaths were too clean, too coincidental. The case files landed on the desk of Detective Okoro, a man who only believed in what he could see and touch. Facts, evidence, and good old-fashioned human evil. He was sharp, cynical, and had zero time for superstition. Looking at the files, he saw only one thing connecting the two healthy men. They were both seen with the beautiful Chichi right before they died. For Okoro, this wasn't a curse, it was a pattern. He was sure he was hunting a very clever black widow. Detective Okoro brought Chichi in for questioning. He watched her through the one-way mirror, where she looked like a picture of terrified innocence. In the interrogation room, his questions were sharp and direct, but Chichi's answers were broken, whispered through tears. "It's a curse. Any man that touches or socks my breast dies," she insisted, her voice trembling. "They die. They always die." Okoro just scoffed. A curse? He saw it as a desperate, crazy story. He let her go but put her under tight surveillance, convinced she'd slip up and reveal her methods. Chichi's world got smaller. The city's whispers turned into open accusations. She was a witch, a murderer. Friends left, and strangers would cross the street just to avoid her. She became a prisoner in her own home, her beauty now feeling like the brand of a monster. But in all that loneliness, a little bit of light appeared in the form of David, a quiet bookstore owner. He wasn't like the other men, full of bravado. He simply left a book of poetry on her doorstep with a note that read, "Words can be a sanctuary." It was the first simple act of kindness she'd received in months. One afternoon, leaving a market, Chichi stumbled and dropped her groceries. David happened to be nearby and rushed to help her up. As he steadied her, his hand accidentally touched her breast. The world stopped. Color drained from Chichi's face as she stared at him in pure horror. And just like that, the poetry was gone. In its place was the deafening tick of a 48-hour clock. His simple act of kindness had just sealed his fate. Cold, absolute panic seized Chichi. David was different. He was kind and gentle, and he had looked at her with compassion, not desire. The thought of him dying was more than she could stand. Desperate, she fled the city, traveling to a remote village to find the one person who could supposedly understand the language of spirits, a traditional healer named Mama Efe. Mama Efe was an old woman whose eyes seemed to hold the wisdom of generations. She listened to Chichi's frantic story without a hint of judgment. She examined Chichi, not with tools, but with hands hovering over her skin, her eyes closed in deep concentration. "The curse is strong," Mama Efe finally said, her voice like rustling leaves. "It's a knot of jealousy tied to you by an enemy's hand." She explained that the curse had twisted the breast, a symbol of life, into a weapon of death. Meanwhile, Detective Okoro's investigation had slammed into a brick wall. Both autopsies were dead ends. No poison, no foul play, nothing. His bosses were breathing down his neck for answers he just didn't have. Frustrated and completely out of logical options, he swallowed his pride and followed the whispers he'd heard on the street. They led him to the same place Chichi had gone, Mama Efe's doorstep. And so, the man of logic found himself standing face to face with a healer who spoke of curses and dark magic. With a man's life on the line, he knew he had no choice but to listen. If you're enjoying this recap, Please like this video and subscribe for more stories just like this one. With the clock ticking, an uneasy alliance was forged between the skeptic and the believer. Mama Efe explained the curse wasn't a part of Chichi. It was anchored to a physical object she owned, a totem filled with dark magic. Think, Mama Efe urged. Has anyone given you a gift recently? Something personal? Chichi's mind raced through memories of empty compliments and cheap gifts. And then it hit her. A small carved wooden bird, given to her months ago by her former best friend, Nika. Her friendship with Nika had soured, curdling into pure envy over the attention men gave Chichi. That jealousy, Mama Efe confirmed, was the poison fueling the curse. But they didn't know that Nika was actively reinforcing the curse. With less than an hour before David's time was up, they raced to Nika's apartment. It was dark and smelled of burning herbs. Nika was there, chanting before a small dark altar where the wooden bird pulsed with a faint, evil light. She was performing a ritual to make the curse even stronger. A confrontation exploded. This wasn't a fist fight, it was a battle of wills. Okoro used his body as a shield, protecting Mama Efe from Neka's frantic attacks, while the healer began a counter-chant, her powerful voice rising against the darkness. Across the city, David collapsed, clutching his chest as his heart started to fail. As Neka lunged one last time, Mama Efe grabbed the wooden bird and smashed it on an anointed stone she had brought. The totem shattered, and a wave of black energy erupted, throwing them all to the ground. In the silence that followed, Neka started screaming. With its anchor destroyed, the dark magic snapped back onto the person who cast it. Her skin wrinkled, her hair turned to dust, and her body withered away, the ugliness in her soul finally showing on the outside. The curse had found a new home. Miles away, David gasped, taking a deep, shuddering breath. The crushing pressure on his chest was just gone. He sat up, confused but alive. Detective Okoro just stared, his entire worldview shattered. He saw Neka's shriveled form and finally understood that some things in the world can't be filed away in an evidence locker. He looked at Mama Efe, not as a peddler of myths, but as a guardian against a reality he never knew existed. And Chichi, for the first time in years, felt light. The cold, parasitic dread that had lived in her heart for so long was finally, blessedly gone. Weeks later, Chichi and David sat together in his bookstore. The quiet air smelled of old paper and new beginnings. He reached out and gently took her hand. A simple touch that was no longer a death sentence, but a promise. She was free, her body finally her own again. Chichi's story is a chilling reminder that the deadliest poisons aren't always made in a lab. Sometimes they're born from the darkness in the human heart. After all, jealousy left to fester can become a curse more real and more potent than any weapon, a force that even cold hard logic can't deny. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and comment, and check out another one of our videos right here. Love you, and see you in our next post.